Ladies and gentlemen, how much does it cost to own a ferret? Do they cost thousands each year, or are they relatively inexpensive to own? Well, today we're going to talk about that, and here's the breakdown. You have the cost of the ferret, the cage, which we'll be talking about later next week, so stay tuned for that. Food, toys, medical, repairs, and time. And we'll be going over all 7 of these later in the video. So these lovely, adorable creatures that love to steal your wallet and jump around and play can be a bit expensive, but exact numbers are going to vary quite a bit depending on how much you can DIY. So let's get into the first official cost, buying the ferret. If you buy a ferret at a Petco or a regular pet shop, you'll wind up paying somewhere about $150. That is if you get them at 8 weeks. Some ferrets are older and you might be able to get a discount on them. However, keep in mind those will be Marshall Farms ferrets. Marshall Farms are mass bred for pets and science, seeing as ferrets can catch some of the more sicknesses that humans can, such as flu and respiratory infections. Some say that a Marshall ferret will have more illnesses and have more chances of cancers down the line because they are mass bred, which could be potentially really expensive. You could always buy a ferret from a shelter, and they're generally a lot less expensive. A private breeder, however, might charge a little more, and chances are you won't get the ferret at 8 weeks from either source. But because of the hopefully experienced people working with the ferrets, you won't have to work with them as much to get them to a proper ferret to human etiquette. If you live in the UK though, prices will vary drastically, so keep that in mind. The cage is one of the bigger things you'll want to be concerned about, because you can't just get them an itty-bitty cage that you'd put your hamster in. To get a good cage for your ferret, you'll want to get a Ferret Nation cage, which will probably land you in the ballpark of $200. However, if you aren't going to cage up the ferrets and you're going to let them free roam for the most part and give them an open cage for them to sleep in, you can go with a smaller cage for them just to sleep in when they feel like it. Water bowls are encouraged. Now here's where DIY can save you some money. You could make a suitable ferret cage for much less than a Ferret Nation cage that does require a lot of effort. So we're up to about $350 now. Ferrets are obligate carnivores, which means they can only digest meat protein. So anything plants or sugary isn't good for them. Stay away from any food by Marshall Farms. I know they give the guarantee on a ferret's life if you feed them their food exclusively. However, you also risk a lot of pain and misery from such a poor diet when you feed them exclusively the Marshall Farms stuff. If you want to give your ferret the best chance at living a long, happy, and healthy life, You don't want to feed them anything by Marshall Farms or Wild Harvest. I'm losing out on a Walmart sponsorship, but that Harvest Valley stuff is so terrible for ferrets and pretty much any other animal. Ferret food is something that can be done right with 3 different brands of ferret food in a mix. Ferrets have what's called olfactory imprinting. Basically, in the months they're growing up, they develop their sense of what is food. The reason you have your 3 sources of food is so that if one goes out of business, you still have the other 2 to rely on. So if one happens to go out of business, you can slowly mix another brand in without upsetting your ferret's stomach. So expect to spend anywhere between $90 to $140 for the first set of bags of food. Keep in mind, though, the food will last for a couple of months, considering it is 3 brands and you're mixing them all together. The initial cost can be around $500 for your ferret, but that's just the initial cost. Toys like cat teasers, clear tubes, and other random things a ferret will find enjoyable to play with / tear to shreds can run you anywhere about $20 to free, seeing as Jack likes my old socks and that is, well, free. Cat teasers work really well for ferrets and cats, so if you want to play with your ferrets, definitely invest in a cat teaser. Medical bills are really where ferrets and any other animal can get expensive. Ferrets can be considered exotic pets, and so like with anything exotic, like exotic cars, they're expensive to fix. Since they're exotic, not all vets are familiar with them or how to treat them. And since you'll need a specialty veterinarian, they'll of course charge more. So you might be expected to pay a lot more than your regular veterinarian if something goes wrong. Now, repairs are something a ferret owner will have to account for over the lifetime of a ferret, seeing as ferrets will commonly steal, destroy things that they find interesting. For example, my wallet has a couple of bite marks in it. Jack has tried to destroy a couple of my hats. Rosie obliterates any ping pong ball she can get her paws on. And Rosie will occasionally nibble on a rubber glove if left around. Time. Ferrets need time out of the cage. Ferrets need time to socialize. The ferrets need attention. They're social animals. You'll have to spend time with your ferrets because otherwise they'll get depressed. And if you aren't sure you'll be able to dedicate a lot of time to them, you might want to consider getting 2. 1, so they'll have a buddy. Some even recommend getting 3 ferrets, just in case one dies. Then they have each other to comfort them. Around 4 hours out of the cage is what you need to aim for. Unless you let your ferrets roam free. If you do plan to let them roam free, though, you still need to spend a lot of time with them. Play with them, snuggle them, cuddle, all of that. They need attention from their owners. Those and more are things you'll have to consider before becoming a ferret owner. Ferrets are wonderful creatures that have some special needs and other things like that, so just be aware of that as you become a ferret owner. Now, I've been using a teleprompter for the better part of this, so hopefully this doesn't look too bad once I edit it all around. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Next week we'll be talking about ferret cages and which one to get. So if you're looking to get a ferret, let me know down in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions or recommendations. And guys, if you want more cute ferret videos each week to brighten your day, then subscribe. I'm Jacob, and thank you for your time.